welcome to this week's episode of Ant on Music. I, of course, am your humble host, Ant, and we've done a little upgrade in technology. It's been driving me nuts. I don't know how the hell I've gone on as long as I have without having a proper microphone to speak into. Tried one of those little lavalier ones, and it was really just a pain in the ass, and it didn't, pick up my beautiful melodious voice. So now you could hear me pretty clearly, I would hope. So, what are we doing this week? Motorhead. It's that simple. Everything louder than everything else. So we got a couple of anniversaries this week. This marks 2 years that I've been doing this podcast. All right. Actually, on I believe it was the 10th of July we'll start the third year of me doing Ant on Music, and I'm glad for everyone that joins me in, week out. Those of you that love to comment, please continue to do so. Share the videos across other platforms. Get more people involved. The more, the merrier. Aside from that, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the one and only, the mighty Motorhead. And it kind of is fitting to celebrate that this week because we just had the big Back to the Beginning concert for Ozzy with Black Sabbath. And if you're going, what the hell are you talking about? Well, if you know metal history, you know that, Lemmy and Ozzy were good buds, and Lemmy wrote a boatload of songs for Ozzy on the No More Tears album. Mom, I'm Coming Home, a bunch of others as well. Hellraiser, which they both performed. They actually, a few years back, there was a single that had both versions of Hellraiser on it. I Don't Want to Change the World, I believe, and a couple others. So there's a long history there with Lemmy and Oz. So kind of fitting to break out the 50th anniversary collection of Motorhead. And we're not just going to look at the latest. We're going to look at all the releases for the Motorhead anniversary of 50 freaking years. How cool is that? Back when they did the 40th anniversary, they did some very nice box sets. Maybe another episode, we'll get into those. Obviously, I wasn't podcasting back then, so I don't have anything on tape about those as of yet. But who knows? Maybe we'll go back and do that. With that stuff, with the new stuff that has come out this year to celebrate the 50th, surprised they're not doing more stuff, but they did do, 4 releases, one being the latest box set, the Manticore tapes, which we're going to show you last, of course. And before we get into it, I just want to thank everybody that comes in, week out. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for checking out the channel. Please, if you're new here, drop a comment. Tell me where you're from, what you're into, what do you like, what do you don't like as far as music goes. Also, subscribe. Please. So you have all that. About the Ozzy final farewell gig with Black Sabbath in Birmingham, I watched it. I don't know if anybody else out there watched it, but I thought it was spectacular. I'm not a big Youngblood fan. It's not my generation. But the kid did a great job doing Black Sabbath's changes. I got to give credit where credit is due. I had technical issues on my end, but if you've watched my podcast, that's a thing as always. And the only disappointment really as far from a band perspective was, for me, Axl Rose's singing. I got to say it. They're tight. Duff is great, Slash is great. Whoever they bring along for the ride does a fair enough job to handle the tunes. But Axl's upper register is just not there anymore. And someone's got to sit him down and tell him, hey, listen, dude, we either have to lower everything an octave or two to make this workable for you, or we just got to drop those songs from the set list and keep it to stuff like Mr. Brownstone, because his lower register is fine. It's strong, it's powerful. Everyone's seen the memes and the videos. When he's singing that upper register, that falsetto register it comes across as either he's gasping for air or he sounds like Herbert on Family Guy. So you have that. All right. So without further ado, enough of me yapping about random BS. Let's get into the Motorhead. All right, so first thing up we have, and I left all the shrink on these just for the fact that I didn't want to be holding up multiple stickers from the releases. So you can see that they're the 50th anniversary editions, and it's pretty cool. So here we go. All right, first thing we have is Motorhead's Overkill. All right, what a great release this is. This is their second release that they put out. First one, it's kind of funny to talk about Motorhead being polished, but this is a much more polished effort than the first album that came out. And we'll take a look at the vinyl, take a look at the little gimmies that they give you inside, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So first thing we see in here, show you the front, right? You got that. That's the album cover. You notice you got the 50th anniversary hype sticker there and there. And it's in a lovely gold foil. On the back, you have your album tracks, photos of the band. Aren't they lovely gentlemen? And inside, which was pretty cool, they included, and once again, 13-year-old me would be really psyched, this cool Overkill poster with the lineup playing live below. And on top of that, what I think is really neat, once again, 13-year-old me would have lost his crap if I would have seen vinyl like this when I was a kid. How cool is that? So you got the War Pig right there. And on the back, you've got the track listing for both sides. And that's really a cool looking piece of vinyl. And as far as the track listing goes, all right, this is like head and shoulders above the first one. Okay, some people would say it's better than Ace of Spades. I don't know about that. I've got a couple of my favorite all-time Motorhead tunes on that, and we'll talk about that later. Kicks off with the title track, and then Overkill. Then it goes into Stay Clean, another classic track. I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister, Capricorn. Then we've got No Class and Damage Case back to back. Tear You Down, Metropolis, and Limb from Limb. And of course, this is the famous Tres Amigos lineup of Motorhead, with Filthy Animal Taylor, Fast Eddie Clark, and of course, Ian Lemmy Kilmister. So that is the first of the four, and the second album in their catalog. Same year, they were literally blowing through material. And if you know anything about Motorhead, actually the name Motorhead comes from when Lemmy was in Hawkwind, and that was the last tune that he wrote for Hawkwind. It was called Motorhead. A little bit of prog info there, or psychedelic information, however you want to categorize it. Next up, we have the classic Bomber. All right, once again, we've got our 50th anniversary stickers on there, and on the back, we've got Lemmy, Filthy, Phil Animal Taylor, and Eddie Clark on bass, drums, and guitar, respectively. And this one also has a lovely poster inside. I'll bust that out for you with the album. And the picture from the back of the album cover. So you basically got front and back and a poster. And this is another cool looking piece of vinyl, another good looking slab, as they say. Let's pop this out. Look at that. Once again, you're getting the theme here. Got our War Pig. And then we have our track listing right there. So very, very cool. And let's talk about that track listing. We got Dead Men Tunnel Tales kicking everything off. Lawman, Sweet Revenge, Sharpshooter, and Poison. Then side 2, the classic Stone Dead Forever, All the Aces, Step Down, Talking Head, and the title track Bomber. Another classic in the Motorhead catalog. If you're unfamiliar with them, they're definitely worth checking out. If you've never really listened to Motorhead, you want to know where's a good entry point, pick up one of the best of collections. Pick up like No Remorse, or even better, pick up the box set, Stone Dead Forever. That's just amazing. Now here is a great classic. This is the classic Motorhead album. Talking about Ace of Spades. That's right, the Ace of Spades. And got the back there with the track listing. And guess what? You open this one up, get a poster. 13-year-old me has his room decorated. How cool is that? The album cover, whole and entire. And the vinyl itself, check this out. This is pretty damn cool. Posted a picture of this online on one of my social media accounts. One of my friends was like, that's so cool, what's that? It's like, it's friggin' Motorhead, dude. Ace of Spades. So, this one kicks off with the title track, Ace of Spades. Trying not to make too much noise. Then we've got Love Me Like a Reptile, Shoot You in the Back, Live to Win, Fast and Loose, and by far, even more so than Ace of Spades, my favorite all-time track from Motorhead, We Are the Road Crew. Then you've got Fire Fire, Jailbait, Dance, Bite the Bullet, The Chase is Better Than the Catch, which is awesome, and The Hammer. And that brings us to the final thing that I have to show you for this week's 50th anniversary of Motorhead, and that is the newly released Manticore tapes. So with this release was the Tres Amigos had convened at, of all places, Manticore Studios, which if you know a little bit about music history, that is the home of ELP. It seems like such a stretch in my mind to associate Motorhead with ELP. It's like complete opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, you know, ELP is this grandiose prog outfit, that just keyboards galore, very full sounding, orchestral, and then you have the absolute killer rawness, part boogie, part punk, proto thrash of Motorhead, and they come in and they record at that studio. I can only imagine what those sessions were like. Now this I haven't opened. This is the hardback super deluxe edition, the limited edition book of the Manticore tapes. So I'm looking forward to diving into this myself. But we got the 50th anniversary right there and the other hype sticker here. So let's take a look-see and see what we got in this goodie bag here. I'm excited. I kind of know what's in there, but it is what it is, as they say. So let's get this off. There we go. Let's keep our stickers intact because, like I'm a mental patient when it comes to this stuff. So show you the front, show you the back. All right, so what do we got in here? We have got a couple of LPs, and we also have a single. All right, so let's open this up, see what's what. We've also got some pictures in here. All right, there's no room for anybody else. I make so much fucking noise. Phil's just got a new drum kit, so he makes plenty of noise. Lemmy on Motorhead as a 3-piece. And that's right there from the book. And right in there you see the 45. All right, and they have that in here as well. And let's slide this out. Got a little War Piggies there. How cool is that? And this whole set is on this DJ Nightmare clear vinyl, as I always call it, because when you're DJing live in a studio or in a club, there is nothing harder than queuing up, and speaking in English, queuing up clear vinyl. What a pain in the ass. Regardless, let's take a look at a couple of these pictures. Of course, we have them hanging in the studio right there, and I'm sure there's a lot of information regarding these tapes, which I'm going to dive into once I'm off this call here, this video that I'm making. And I've listened to some of this already, but I haven't read the book, obviously, because I just opened it up. So once again, this is all following suit, all looks all keeps the same pattern as the other ones, which is great. It's like continuity is a wonderful thing, I think. So crystal clear vinyl, War Pig on the back. And it's the same for, for the other one as well. So I'm not even going to bother showing you the other one because there's nothing different there. It's another slab of clear vinyl. So let's talk about this one. All right, so this is the Manticore tapes. And on here we have the instrumental. Then we have Leaving Here, the classic track Vibrator, Help Keep Us on the Road, The Watcher, and Motorhead. Then you have Witch Doctor, the instrumental. Iron Horse, Born to Lose is an instrumental. Leaving Here, an alternative take. Alternative take of Vibrator, and alternative take of The Watcher. All cool stuff. Now this is where it gets really fun, all right? This is what's really cool. Once again, I love live stuff, all right? And I always say I'm not a big bootleg guy, but I do love live stuff. We've got Motorhead, Vibrator, Keep Us on the Road, The Watcher, and Iron Horse. Leaving Here, On Parole, which I absolutely love. I'm Your Witch Doctor, Train Kept a Rollin', City Kids, and White Line Fever. And that's all from this live release on here called Blitzkrieg on Birmingham in 1977. And then they have on the 45 that I showed you first up, live at Barbarella's in Birmingham in 77, the 7-inch of Motorhead and Keep Us on the Road. So let's take a look at a couple of the pictures too. You guys know I don't like to spend a tremendous amount of time, take up too much of your time, but let's take a quick look at everything in here. Pretty neat. It says, let me turn this on his doorstep at 8 o'clock on one Saturday morning and handed over a leather jacket and bullet belt. He just gave them to me and said, you've got the job, and walked off again. I just stood there in my underpants looking at him. Fast Eddie on joining Motorhead. So you have that. They do have the lyrics in here, which is pretty cool. And they have loads of liner notes as well. So you have all of that here in this beautiful Motorhead, the Manticore tapes. And this is only available from Motorhead, Motorhead's website, which is pretty neat. And I'm really chuffed to have that added into my Motorhead collection, which I came to Motorhead late. I came to Motorhead actually in college. I was, not that I was unaware of them, but I never really got into them. I'd been into other stuff like Metallica and whatnot prior to Motorhead, and got into Motorhead in college, and I've been a fan ever since. So that's everything I have to show for you for this week's episode. I thank you so much for coming and checking out the channel. You know, hunt around. There's other stuff on the channel that you may dig. Go and check it out. Lots of fun stuff. All right. As I always say, peace, one love, music, and I'm out.